Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Hoops with Noops. As always, I am Alex Noops Christensen, and I'm brought to you by the fine folks at FTN. So many great services, data, tools, picks, conversations, access to the FTN Bets Discord, which that's where you find all my bets at the very first moment I post them. You get all my player props. There's a lot of great conversations and other things going on in there. You got guys like Josh Gross just cleaning up in women's college basketball. The college basketball show itself, the men's show, doing a great job. Those guys are up tons of units this year. Be sure you sign up now if you're somebody like me who is way behind on college basketball and has to learn about 5 to 6 months of college hoops here as we get ready for March Madness. It's a great way to catch up. If you look down at the bottom, you can see a discount code scrolling. Make sure you use that, get you a little bit off there. Again, so much good stuff. As always, be sure you subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, suggestions, put a comment down there below. I'll be sure to get back to you. But again, I'm Noops, and I'm here to talk some hoops, NBA hoops specifically. And I guess I'll just be honest here. It's a Friday night. We've got 6 games. It's not the best. It really is just a mess of a slate. We are at the end of the year. Injury questions abound in these games. I mean, it will be fun to watch Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets play the San Antonio Spurs, but every other game has real big questions about who's going to play, at what level they'll be if they do play. It's really tough. And the NBA, it's 82 regular season games in about 7 months. That is a grind. That is really tough on the bodies of even younger players, let alone some of these veterans. It can be really tough to get this far into the season. So this is the price we pay. Nights like tonight where it's just kind of a messy slate, but don't worry. Quality of games and how fun they're going to be to watch has almost no bearing on whether or not we'll be wagering. There's value to be found. We've got 6 games to get to. I've got bets I like in 2 of them and 4 other games. I'll walk you through those and not for Noops, where I just try to give you an idea of what I'm thinking, what I expect to happen, and why I'm not betting the game or might be waiting to bet those games later. So without further ado, let's get started. The first game up here, first game of the night, the Phoenix Suns go to Charlotte to play the Hornets. I'm sorry, I got that backwards there. The Hornets here are 9.5-point underdogs, not favorites there. Apologies for that little error. But again, Suns and Hornets here. Hornets, big underdogs at home. Makes sense. The Suns are a much, much better team. When they have all 3 of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, it's a truly a fantastic offense. The space that they can create on the floor with their shooting, all good passers. They all move without the ball. The Suns still are middle of the road in offensive rating for the year, but as you start to look at smaller samples and when those 3 guys are on the floor together, it really is a great offense. They should be able to beat this Charlotte team pretty comfortably. I mean, Charlotte has really struggled. Any depth that they had was really ripped away by injuries and trades here. Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges are 2 nice players. If anybody in the league can really slow down these Suns. Those guys are built for it. Brandon Miller is going to be a good defensive player. I think it'll be fun to watch what he can do against Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. Again, not sure where he ends up tonight, but the Hornets are outmanned. What I do like here, though, is the total. I think the total, it's too high at 218. I have this a little closer to 214 myself. I actually played under 217 early this morning. It's up to 218. And really what I'm looking at here is the Phoenix Suns teams that played last night. Suns won comfortably, wasn't really much of a problem, but all their starters played 32, 33 minutes. And all season, we've seen them struggle on the second night of back-to-backs. We've also seen their totals go under at quite a high clip. Unders are 8-3 in the 11 games the Suns have played on the second night of a back-to-back. You watch their offensive efficiency. In games with rest, over 118 points. On the second night of a back-to-back, they're closer to 115. That's 3 points per 100 possessions. That really is a big difference. Their pace has not been fast. The Suns have been a slow, deliberate team all year. They score points through efficiency, not through speed and aggressiveness and trying to push the ball here. So I think everything adds up here to maybe a slow, kind of ugly game. The Suns, again, although I expect them to win by double digits, I don't expect their offense to be as efficient as we've seen it be. At the same time, the Hornets have been a good defensive team. They're one of the slowest teams in the NBA since the All-Star break, one of the 10 best defenses in the NBA since the All-Star break. Again, they've got Bridges, they've got Miller. Those are 2 good guys who can defend. Nick Richards and some of the other players on the team, although they might not be the most talented players, especially offensively, they're long, they're athletic, and they give effort. Defense is mostly about that. So I think this game profiles as kind of an ugly, low-scoring affair. We'll see. I mean, again, maybe Phoenix just puts up a big enough number on their own to go over here. I know one of my buddies, one of the other great guys at FTN, Frank Brank, played over at 217 this morning. So we've got a bit of a head-to-head there. But I think I'm on the right side. I like the under here, 218. Again, I think this game's just going to be a mess. Don't watch it. Just bet it. The other game that I am betting and also probably not watching, the Orlando Magic visit the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors 8.5-point underdogs, the total 217.5. The Magic are great. What a fun team. They're in the 5th seed in the East right now, just a game behind 4th, which would give them a chance to host their first playoff series since 2011. It's been a long time since the Magic have been this good, and they look like they're only going to keep getting better. It's Paolo Banchero's second year. He has improved in noticeable and important ways since his rookie year. He's shooting better. He's turning the ball over less. He looks more engaged on offense. He's not only scoring, but now finding ways to incorporate his teammates and get them baskets. Franz Wagner looks like the perfect piece to fit next to him, starting to shoot better. And again, a really good passer here. It's a team in Orlando that does a lot of good on offense without a true traditional point guard. Jalen Suggs is the lead ball handler there, and what he really dominates with is top-tier defense. He's one of the best perimeter defender guards in the NBA, and is shooting close to 40% from three. That's a really nice core to build on. They've got some other really fun pieces, guys like Jonathan Isaac, who can't stay healthy, but when he plays 20, 25 minutes is an incredible defender. This is a really good team. They have a lot of assets. They should be better in the future. First night of a 2-game series between these teams, so they'll play again. I think that Orlando, this spread looks just about right to me. I'm sorry, not Detroit, but Toronto there. It's a 2-game series between Orlando and Toronto. It should be interesting here. The Raptors, they're in tough shape. No Scotty Barnes, no RJ Barrett. My condolences, Barrett out for personal reasons. I believe his brother passed away. Just a real shame. It's a tough spot for him and the team. Again, that lurks over everybody. Manuel quickly is healthy, but Gary Trent Jr. is questionable. That doesn't leave much offensive talent here for this Toronto team that I expect to struggle to score tonight. Again, Quickly's a good player, but Suggs is a great defender. Suggs is going to be able to slow him down. And again, everybody else in the Magic going to take away space from Quickly. There's not much shooting left, especially if Gary Trent Jr. is out tonight. I just don't see how the Raptors score 102, 103 points, let alone the 104.5 that the market has put up here as their team total. They did get to 119 a couple games ago in Denver, but the Nuggets really started that game slow, and the Raptors had a great shooting performance. I mean, 50% from the field, made a lot of threes, got a bunch of free throws. Again, unless it's some sort of aberrant performance like that, which I really don't expect, the Magic have been great this season, really locked down these bad teams. So I expect the Raptors to struggle to score tonight. I'll take their team total under 104.5. Now, not for Noops. We've got 4 other games. I'm not betting them. I might be betting them later. And again, if you want to see those bets, make sure you get into the FTN Bets Discord. Everything goes into there. I haven't got the player props yet, but I'll be put a couple of those in there as well. Again, 4 games. Just kind of want to give you my thoughts, why I'm waiting or why I'm not betting some of these games. We'll start with the Miami Heat. They go to Detroit. The Heat 8-point favorites against the Pistons. This is another 2-game series. They'll play again in Detroit on Sunday here. Total of 215. Miami should be able to cover this number, but they've really struggled against bad teams. Spoelstra and the staff seem to play their stars less minutes, knowing that they can win the games without a big margin. Looking at some of the worst teams in the NBA, your Portlands, your Washingtons, again, Detroit, San Antonio, Memphis, with all their injuries. The Heat win those games only by an average of about 5.8 points. It just shows you that. And again, they've won pretty much all of them. I think there's only 1 or 2 losses in there, but they know how to control things, win games without having to put a lot of stress on their guys to win by margin. So the Heat could cover this number, but I'm not really sure how to trust them. At the same time, I wouldn't mind betting Detroit, but Cade Cunningham is out or questionable at this point. We're waiting to kind of see what goes on with him. If Cunningham is in and this number stays close to where it is, maybe it moves down to 7, I might be interested in a bet on the Pistons, but I don't really expect that to happen, and we really don't know. So nothing for me here now. Maybe a bet on the Pistons later. I'll probably pass on this game altogether. Another game here that should be fun, but we just don't know who's playing. The Los Angeles Clippers go to New Orleans to play the Pelicans. The Pelicans are 7.5-point favorites. The total is 216.5. And if that line looks odd to you, you've been paying attention. Last time these teams played, it was about 5-6 weeks ago. That was in Los Angeles, but the Clippers closed as 5.5-point favorites. A month before that, the Clippers closed as 1.5-point favorites in New Orleans. Everyone was healthy in those last 2 games. We know the Pelicans are healthy tonight, but the Clippers played last night in Chicago. Wasn't a particularly strenuous game, but again, Kawhi, who's coming off of back spasms, played about 34 minutes. James Harden was out with a shoulder injury. Maybe he's back tonight. Maybe Kawhi is out. But again, think about those previous numbers. Clippers minus 5.5 in LA. Clippers minus 1.5 in New Orleans. This is a 6-7 point adjustment based on what we've seen here. I think that's the market indicating to us that they expect at least Kawhi Leonard to be out, if not Kawhi and James Harden. But we just don't know. Kawhi has played in these spots. It's just really hard to tell. I expect him to be out. Again, with back spasms, it's really tough. You just don't know what's going to happen, and rest is really important. But maybe they play. This is an important game. This could be a postseason playoff preview here for us. There's a good chance these two teams end up in a series in the first round. So Ty Lue might want to try to see what he can do here and win this game. It's just we can't really bet this game until we know who's playing. If Harden and Kawhi are out for the Clippers, maybe I'll find myself with some Pelicans first quarter, some Pelicans first half. They've been great early. The Clippers generally start a little bit slow, but we have to wait. We got to see what's going on here. So again, if I do make any bets, those will end up in the FTN Bets Discord, but nothing for now. What I think will be the best game of the night, the one I mentioned earlier, the Denver Nuggets go to, well, not quite San Antonio. Tonight's game is in Austin, Texas, where the Spurs are 10.5 point underdogs, the total 223. San Antonio the Spurs play a couple games in Austin every year just to try to engage that fan base. It's only about an hour and a half drive from San Antonio, so it's still virtually a home game for the Spurs, but not technically in San Antonio. Number just looks right here. I think the Nuggets could really win this game by margin. They have tended to sleepwalk through these spots earlier this season, but they're in a tight race for the 1 seed. I believe they're half a game ahead of Oklahoma City right now, and they need to keep winning games. They want to have home court advantage all the way through the playoffs, at least until the finals. They're not going to catch Boston for the top seed in the league. But again, if they can have home court all the way through the West, that's a big advantage for them, and that's what they're trying to do. So I expect Denver to push and try to win this game, but it's hard to kind of figure out what happens. I thought about maybe betting San Antonio early. They've been one of the best first quarter teams in the league at home against really good teams. But Denver's been an even better first quarter team. They have some great results there. So nothing for me here. This should be a really fun game. Again, still having a chance to look at props, but Jokic triple-double. If you can find that at plus 200 or better, there's a little freebie for you there. I think that's a pretty good bet. Last game up. This game sucks. The Atlanta Hawks go to Utah to play the Jazz. The Jazz 2.5 point underdogs. The total's 223.5. You might be wondering why the Hawks are favorites on the road. It's because the Jazz are without Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson, which makes them one of the worst rosters in the NBA. Utah's a great home court advantage. The altitude there isn't quite as high as Denver. You know, you're 4,000 feet of altitude as opposed to about 5,200 feet of altitude there in Denver, but still a big difference. It's hard for teams to adjust to that. Unfortunately, again, without their two best players, this Jazz roster is pretty pitiful. The Hawks without Trae Young, Jalen Johnson looks like he'll be back tonight, should stabilize things a little bit. It's just a mess of a game where you've got two teams that are kind of locked into their position. The Hawks are going to be the 10 seed in the East and go to Chicago to play the play-in tournament. That is more or less locked in, barring some sort of miracle or disaster for somebody. The Jazz, bad team. Too far behind to get even into the play-in tournament, but too good enough to get close to the best odds for the top pick here. So two teams kind of floating in flux here for the last 15, 16 games. I don't know what to do here. Definitely don't bet this game. But the games you should bet. Phoenix, Charlotte. I like the under there, 218. Again, I played this at 217. So if this drops by the time you see it, that's still playable at 217. If it's 218, congratulations. You got a better number than I did. Toronto Raptors, I'll take their team total under 104.5. They're at home, but against a Magic team that should be able to lock them down. An injury-riddled roster there for the Raptors. Hard to understand how they get to maybe even 100, let alone 104.5. So those are the two bets I like. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Again, be sure you subscribe to this channel. A lot of great free content from the folks at FTN. And if you have any thoughts, questions, suggestions, drop a comment down there below. I'll be sure to get back to you and let you know as soon as I can what I might be thinking about, what you want to know, or how maybe we can address a couple things. Again, appreciate your support as always. Best of luck until we talk again, which will be Monday. I'll be back in video and written form with Hoops with Noops. Have a great weekend. Let's try to win some money. See you soon.